Adrenaline and steel, the perfect conjunction. Lap after lap, sweat drips, eyes are fogging. Fame and glory wait for no one's dogging. Tunnel vision, apex hunting, blind to the herd. Opponents tailgating, pace firing absurd. Finally tuned monster, horsepower XL. Steering wheels grip like the gates to hell. Fast lanes, checker flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engines soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Strapped in tight, ready, V8, symphony humming. Tires screeching, engine screaming, speed demons coming. Gasoline guzzling, straight moving, track bruising. In the premium stock car, never losing. Pit crew wizards, quick as wizards, slick precision. Seconds matter, clock ticking, tight decisions. Drafting close, slingshot ghost, high speed ballet. Sipping victory, toasted champ, champagne spray. Fast lanes, checker flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engines soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near. Grid start, hearts pound seconds before eruption. Adrenaline and steel, the perfect conjunction. Lap after lap, sweat drips, eyes are fogging. Fame and glory wait for no one's dogging. Tunnel vision, apex hunting, blind to the herd. Opponents tailgating, pace firing absurd. Finally tuned monster, horsepower XL. Steering wheels grip like the gates to hell. Fast lanes, checker flags, racing through the turns. Pedal to the metal, feel the rubber burn. Crowd roars, engines soar, high stakes, high gear. Champions breathe and destiny's near.
Hey guys, my name is Carly with Prestige Enterprises. Not only are we a proud sponsor of the Powerhouse Motorsports, we're also proud to be one of the sponsors for Premier Stock Car Racing League. We provide our services to over 70% of the U.S. and we have a wide range of services, but our main focuses are custom homes, barn doors and shops, and commercial development. But it doesn't stop there. So pull out your phones and use this QR code on your screen to take a quick look at our website. We can't wait to make your dreams come true. Now that we have helped pay some bills, let's throw it back to you, Aaron.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here from the beautiful Phoenix Raceway. We were here last night with our other series there with the Full Throttle Outlaws. Obviously, we were on the old Phoenix Raceway. We were on the Legacy Phoenix Raceway. So here tonight we are back in action from Phoenix, but we have the new and improved Phoenix here this evening. as that straightaway goes from the front stretch here down in the, the straightaway here, technically, on the racetrack. And now that start-finish line all the way back over here where it used to be corner number 2, just off corner number 2, and now we have this big dog leg. We have this opportunity. Now it's not grass. There's no walls down there. Well, there's a couple, but they're a lot farther down than what they used to be, and it really opens up that back straightaway where drivers can try to cut that dog leg, try to find their way a little quicker around the racetrack, and hoping that they can find their way potentially to the front of the field. But here tonight, those options, they may run a little bit thin. You may run into problems. We may see drivers have issues, slip and slide as you jump down onto that apron. It's a lot dirtier down there. There's not as lot of grip as what you would hope, and unfortunately you can get yourself into a lot more trouble than what you can create by cutting the course there and trying to find that extra little bit of speed and timing off of your lap down there on the bottom side of the track. Because right now, qualifying underway, and drivers looking to try to lay down their quick times out there on the racetrack. Is right now, Landon Burbidge does have the fastest lap out of anybody out there on the racetrack, but it doesn't last for long as Jordan Hand jumps up into position number 1, but Hand won't stay there very long either, as now it's the 31 ride of Dylan Carrier. Carrier with the quick time out there on the racetrack. So quick time goes to the 31 ride as of right now. We'll have to wait and see if anyone else can find that extra little bit of speed, maybe jump up and leapfrog back in front of him, as we do see a bunch of other drivers. See Ryan Holler out there in the beautiful 99 ride. Jonathan Gasson is always beautiful. Gasson's iRacing graphics machine. The NJB Designs Interstate Batteries number 18 currently jumps up into position number 4. Now we see Applegate jump to the top of the charts. So Grant Applegate now with the quick time out there on the racetrack. The Red Bull machine jumps in to position number 1, moving Dylan Carrier back to 2nd. Jordan Hand in 3rd, Noah Blackwell up into 4th, and Landon Burbidge right now our top 5, as we do see Evan Stewart. Going to see Stewart out there for another great run here this evening, as he's got his AG's Designs number 37 ride out there on the racetrack, currently qualified up and inside the top 10, as he's got Wyatt Mickelson, Ryan Holler right there behind him. We still have a couple drivers left to qualify here this evening, one of those being that beautiful Rubbered Up Productions number 5 ride, as the Rubbered Up Racing machine slides out of corner number 4, back down across the line. We'll see if Josh Kreider can jump up the speed charts, and he does. He jumps up into 5th, so he knocks Landon Burbidge out of the top 5 and puts that 5 ride into position number 5 here this evening, as that is going to be pretty much a wrap now on this qualifying session. Josh going to come to a stop there. He's going to give up on his 2nd lap. We still have Jordan Kreider left to qualify here in his Team No Lock number 3 machine. Chris gets there as well, yet to qualify, and Ben Gleason has not laid a lap down yet as well, as we're going to jump into a quick little bit of our, our national anthem here. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys help us out here. Jump into the action here this evening. Get on your feet, take off your hats, cheer on your favorite drivers as we get ready for our national anthem here this evening, as we're only moments away from taking the green flag here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. Alrighty, shout out there to Landon Burbage, the driver of that number 2 Chevrolet, for jumping in and giving us the national anthem here this evening. As these drivers, they get ready to go to battle, they are starting to grid up here. So qualifying has come to a close and we'll get ready to go. Green flag racing in just a few more moments as we'll get our opening invocation here this evening from Lonnie Kreiner. Kreiner coming in with the command here this evening for all these drivers. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up here for Lonnie Kreiner.
Thank you very much. How about that great announcer announcing everything tonight? What a great job he's been doing all the races. He's very exciting to listen to, gets down to the point, and tells it exactly how it is. Guys, I know it's going to be hard racing tonight, and some of you is going to be eliminated tonight. So have a great race. God bless America. God bless every one of you all. Start them engines, guys, and let's go racing.
Woo! Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, give it up there for Lonnie Kreiner. Lonnie, thank you for jumping in there, giving us the opening commands here this evening to go racing here this evening with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. And to talk about what Lonnie was talking about right there, this is an elimination race. So drivers, unfortunately here, they have to be on the edge of their seats. They know that there is a possibility that their playoffs may come to a close here this evening. You want to make sure you're clean and green. You want to make sure you're out of trouble out there on the racetrack and not putting yourself into a tough position here this evening as we'll get ready to rumble here for 200 laps of racing action here from Phoenix Raceway as these guys roll down the back straightaway here at Phoenix, which used to be the front stretch here at Phoenix. It is now the back straightaway here at this beautiful racetrack as they head down into corner number 3. Nice and easy out of 3. They will get ready to see that green flag fly as our flagman will end all the anticipation with the feature presentation as we are quickly green flag racing here at Phoenix. The 57 ride of Applegate gets a great jump right there. Quickly, it will lead us down into corner number 1 and out of corner number 2 as you already see these drivers starting to make some moves. 2, 3 wide back there deeper through the field. Everyone's spreading out trying to find every inch they can down through the first couple quarters, and some drivers just trying to hang on and keep themselves out of trouble as right now the outside lane looking to try to pay off for the 18 right here. He comes down onto the apron right there, cutting that dog leg and looking to try to close the gap back on that Rubbered Up Productions number 5 machine of Josh Kreiner. As Kreiner was able to get around him there on that opening lap as Grant Applegate leads our first lap of the day. So Applegate out in front, showing these drivers how to get it done here in this one. Grant, one of the competitors here this evening that is battling for that possibility of continuing his championship hunt alive here this evening. There is a lot of drivers, there's a lot of cars that are trying to keep themselves in that playoff contention here this evening, as I do believe right now our top 9 drivers are still a part of these playoffs. Unfortunately, for 3 of these drivers, they will be eliminated here this evening. And right now, those 3 drivers that are on the bottom side of that cut line is James Robbins, which is Farrell Robbins, Noah Blackwell, and Grant Applegate, our race leader, all unfortunately at the back of our top 6 right now. They're on the outside of that cut line, but luckily enough for Applegate, for Noah Blackwell, you know, they're only a couple points away from our 5th and 6th place drivers, which is Josh Kreiner and Brian Underwood. Not too far in front of them, we do see Jordan Hand as well, so things are very, very tight up towards the front of the field here. Obviously, Aiden Lucas has a good run right now. He's got a big point gap. He can take it easy as we see our first caution flag of the day, and it's one of our playoff drivers. Let's take a look back here. We do see James Ifa. Ifa, unfortunately, not one of our playoff drivers here this evening, but the 88 machine just trying to keep himself out of trouble. All of a sudden, he cuts down the racetrack, and that's across the nose of Farrell Robbins right there. And Farrell ends up getting a little bit of damage into that. Not a whole lot, but that is one of our playoff competitors. Unfortunately for Farrell, he is at the back of the pack, and he is just trying to keep himself out of trouble. And unfortunately, trouble finding him right there as he's trying to work himself around that 88 machine. He seems to get loose, cuts down the racetrack across the nose of the 76. That's a tough break right there for that 76. The Old Dogs Racing, the Gaston's Eye Racing Graphics number 76 ride. And obviously with that little bit of damage, he's taking that car down pit side, trying to get it repaired, trying to get that thing fixed up and back into the action here this evening. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and keep a close look at that 76 machine, as he is unfortunately right now on the outside of that cutoff line and could be eliminated here this evening. Braden Lucas, Landon Burbage, Dylan Carrier, they're sitting pretty solidly right now, but you still want to have a good run, a solid point stay, as even for Landon Burbage and Dylan Carrier, they're only about, 14, 15 points away from potentially, being eliminated from these playoffs as well. So you got to be very, very cautious. You got to be very, very careful, trying to earn as many stage points as you can, and trying to make sure that you try and, just have a solid run all evening long, where it doesn't leave anything on the table for those other drivers back behind you to leapfrog you and potentially knock you out of these playoffs. As we will get ready to go back to green flag racing, a quick caution flag. We did see Farrell Robbins come down pit road there a couple of times, making sure that that car gets fixed up. Here he is, rolling back out onto the racetrack and just trying to keep himself alive here this evening and hoping to see if he can try to work himself up and into the front here, as it does look like he's getting more damage here. Did he run into more problems after that contact with the number 88 machine? Oh yeah, right here. Watch out. Look out. Farrell Robbins does go around. This is already, I think, right before the caution flag was thrown, so the caution flag did not come out for that contact between Farrell Robbins and the number 88 ride, because they were so far back, though no caution flag came out, as the 88 was down on the apron and not in the racing line. And then we see Farrell Robbins the next time around, right here, just goes around there, and man, that's a big hit right there for that 76. Let's play it back here again. Oh man, this is really gonna set him back here this evening. I didn't think it was gonna be that much damage or that hard of contact there between him and the 88, but maybe it was a little bit more than we thought. All of a sudden, this car just breaks loose out of corner number 2 and comes around, makes hard contact with that inside fence. Very heavy damage there for that beautiful 76 ride, as the Gaston's Eye Racing Graphics Old Dogs Racing Machine, unfortunately, having a setback early on in this race. Here we go. Back to green flag racing, as the 57 of Applegate out in front. Another solid start there for the 57. He's able to hang on to the race lead and keep Josh Kreider, Jordan Hand, and all these other cats back there at bay. As you do see Brian Underwood starting to make some moves here, as the OKC, the Oklahoma City Thunder, number 11 ride of Jordan Hand, starting to slide back a little bit. There's Aiden Lucas in position number 6 now, as he's got Noah Blackwell, Dylan Carrier, Landon Burbage right there behind him, as Connolly, one of these drivers up here inside the top 8 right now, not a part of the playoffs. Pretty much everybody else out there inside our top 8, our top 9, are a part of our playoffs here this evening, except for Connolly. But Connolly trying to hang on to position number 3, as here comes Brian Underwood. Jordan Hand right there as well, as they're looking to move around that 25. Aiden Lucas there in 6th, with Dylan Carrier back in 7th. Noah Blackwell and Landon Burbage there in 8th and 9th. Burbage came in with a pretty sizable gap between himself and our cutoff line here this evening, but can't take any chances. You just gotta have a solid run. With these being only 2 race stints here between elimination races, you gotta make sure you get everything you got. You can't leave anything up for grabs, as you just never know when something wrong may happen and your opportunity to advance may go right out the window, as we did just see some contact there and unfortunate damage for Danny White, as White and the number 37 of Evan Stewart made a little contact right there. We did see White get up into the outside fence, able to hang on to it though and stay in that 10th position, as here comes that beautiful AG Designs number 37 of Mr. Evan Stewart. Stewart down low, gonna make that pass now on that 79 right. Here comes Ryan Haller trying to follow him right on through, as the Silk Machine up and into position number 11. Jonathan Gaston, Wyatt Mickelson there, 3 wide right there is the 79, slow out of corner number 2. I think that contact with the outside wall definitely really starting to affect the handling of this ride. Unfortunately for Danny White, he's sliding farther and farther backwards, and now look out! The 10 right of Wyatt Mickelson's around. Caution flags on the racetrack. Heavy hit right there for Mickelson. Heavy hit for Mickelson. Heavy hit there for James Efa as both drivers collide down in quarter 1 and 2 in a bunch of tore up race cars here. Heartbreaker there for the Porter Pipe Supply Machine as the Porter Pipe and Supply Machine here sends it into corner number 1 and 2. Expecting to see nothing but good, clean racetrack, and all of a sudden the 10 ride turned around right there. Wyatt Mickelson getting some contact, and all of a sudden nowhere to go here for James Efa. Let's take a look at the contact. Is this Jonathan Gaston and the 10 ride? They're battling door to door down into corner number 1, and a little neck code right there. Unfortunately, just kind of knocking that rear end loose here on this number 10 machine. He's got quite a bit of a gap, but I think iRacing just expected them that they were going to make contact no matter what. And nonetheless, they do make that contact. The 10 right, the rear end just gets knocked loose right there. He's sliding through corner number 1 and 2, trying to make sure he keeps himself out of trouble, trying to keep it out of the fence right here. And as he does keep it out of the fence, unfortunately, it rolls back down onto the racetrack, and here comes Efa. Efa just slides in there in a heavy hit. Look at that 10 ride up and off, all 4 wheels flying through the sky right there, going for a crazy ride down through corner number 1 and 2 for this 10 machine, and now heavy damage for himself, heavy damage there for Efa. Let's see if we can jump on board with this 10 ride and see what Wyatt Mickelson sees as he sends it down into the corner here. And all of a sudden, there's that contact. He's sliding sideways, just trying to keep it out of the fence, trying to keep it rolling, and all of a sudden rolls down the track. And, oh, man, that's a big hit right into, I do believe, the driver's side door as well. So that is never a fun hit right there, and that's going to hurt for a little while here on this 10 ride. It's, oh, man, right into that driver's side door, and heavy damage for both of those competitors. They'll be looking to go down pit side and get some extensive work done, as you do see James Efa, heavy smoke rolling out of that 88 ride. Hopefully the safety crew is down there making sure that car is not on fire and making sure that that driver is A-okay as James getting out of that car and unfortunately parked down pit road here for an extended period of time. Same with Wyatt Mickelson. Mickelson definitely going to have to go down to the Phoenix Infield Care Center here this evening to make sure that that 10 machine, the driver there of Wyatt Mickelson, is A-okay. And we hope the best for both of those competitors, as we hope to see them maybe get the backup cars out there onto the racetrack and get back into the hunt here this evening as we get ready to continue the hunt here today. It is Applegate out in front. Grant getting ready to see that green flag fly here once again. So Grant looking to get ready to rumble, getting ready to roll nice and easy down through corner number 3 and out of 4. He'll hit that Geico restart zone and looking to try to keep all these drivers back there at bay with another great start there. Another great restart out of that Red Bull machine. Now here comes Jordan Hand cutting that dog leg down the back straightaway. Looking to try to make a couple passes, looking to get himself back up into the hunt here this afternoon is that Oklahoma City Thunder number 11 ride, looking to slide up into position number 4 is Brian Underwood, looking to try to take position number 2 away from Josh Kreider. Kreider, though, trying to hang on to it as they're still door to door, 3 rows deep back behind our race leader Grant Applegate. And Applegate looking to just continue to try to pull away from these guys. He loves to see them battling side by side back there behind him, allows him to open up the door, but now here's the caution flag back out on the racetrack. Dylan Carrier turned around. We saw the Tua Landon Burbage also going for a spin right there in the caution flag. Will come back out. So the caution flag back out on the racetrack is these two battling door to door down the front straightaway here at Phoenix. And all of a sudden, down low, it is the 18 rider Noah Blackwell making this a 3-wide fight. And I don't think either driver realized it right there. I think the 2 machine potentially saw this coming as he sees the 18 ride coming down low for the number 31, Dylan Carrier. Carrier just really has nothing that he can do right here. He does not see that 18 right cutting down low and getting this run, then sending it in deep down into corner number 1. So for the 2 ride, he can't go down to that yellow line like the 31 ride's expecting. The 31 of Dylan Carrier is expecting the 2 machine to head down, use that yellow line right here. So he's expecting to have much more room. All of a sudden, they're already 2 wide and now 3 wide, and he's got no room there. And unfortunately, him and Landon Burbage and Noah Blackwell, they all get tied together, and the 31 slides backwards up into the outside fence. And for 2 of our playoff drivers here this evening that were looking to have a clean, easy day and hoping to try to make it through all the issues here and hoping to try to work themselves into the next round of the playoffs, that's not going to come so easy here this evening, as they are going to run into some issues. Now looking to get their cars repaired and trying to keep themselves in the hunt here this evening, as you see the 31 backwards up into the outside fence. The 2 right trying to hang on to it. Unfortunately, this is in front of half of our field as they're about mid-pack, and then all of a sudden Ryan Haller, Connolly both get some pretty solid damage into that one. Burbage gets a bunch of extra damage onto that. Prince's towing number 2 machine goes for another loop right there down into corner number 2. Luckily enough, no one else makes contact with them, but pretty significant damage there for that 2 machine. Pretty heavy contact there for Dylan Carrier as well. And unfortunately, a couple of our playoff drivers running into issues there during that caution flag. So we will get them stacked up, we will get them racked up, and we will get ready to try it all over again. Another restart here on the horizon for these Premium Stock Car Racing League drivers. As they get ready to go back to battle, they get ready to duke it out again here this evening. They are just looking to try to get some good laps underneath their belt, trying to keep this race moving along, trying to keep it rolling here, wanting to see some good laps being laid down and potentially seeing some, good green flag runs out there on the racetrack. Now, this next run, it's not going to be that long. Even if we stay clean and green, we're already, 20 laps into this race, so 20 laps down, it'll be 21 down across the line as we go back to green flag racing. So we only got about 29 more laps left here in stage number 1. So we'll maybe see that 29 lap run, and we'll see these drivers head down and make this first stage at least somewhat bearable, not with too many caution flags, but if it continues on this pace, I don't know if we'll have enough drivers to finish this race or not. As here we go, back to the green flag, the 57 of Applegate quickly back onto the left pedal, looking to try to keep that gap between himself and that 6 rider. Brian Underwood is able to quickly jump up and clear that 5 rider, Josh Kreider. Kreider trying to hold on the third as here comes Aiden Lucas and Jordan Hand right there behind him. The 18 of Noah Blackwell now up and into 6 as Evan Stewart there in 7th. Jonathan Gaston, the beautiful Gaston's iRacing ride, the beautiful iRacing graphics machine, rolls there in position number 8. Chris gets back there in position number 9 with Dylan Carrier already trying to race his way back up inside the top 10 out there on the racetrack. He's got Landon Burbage there to his outside. Farrell Robbins, another one of our playoff drivers, back there in position number 12, trying to rebound from his early contact and issues right there out of corner number 2. And for that, number 76 finds himself just a couple spots outside of the top 10 as he makes the move there around Ben Gleason and jumps up into 11th on the racetrack. Here comes Connolly, here comes Ben Gleason, and Chris gets right there as Jordan Kreider back in 15th, Ryan Haller there in 16th. Wyatt Mickelson back out there on the racetrack. Unfortunately here for Wyatt, he is a couple laps down, I do believe, for this number 10 machine. Actually about 3 laps down out there on the racetrack. Danny White, he is not back out on the speedway. Unfortunately here for Danny, heavy damage there for him. He hasn't been back out there since lap 19. And James Eva also looks like he has taken that car still down pit side, still getting checked out. But great to see Wyatt Mickelson back out there on the racetrack. The crew has went to work, got that car repaired, got him back out there onto the racetrack, and glad to see that he is a-okay after that heavy hit into the driver's side door. But for Applegate, he is happy to see some good green flag laps being laid down now as he's trying to open up a bit of a gap between himself and Underwood. Underwood trying to hunt him down here. Teammates at the front of the field as they are a part of the Redemption Motorsports crew. Josh Kreider and his Rubbered Up Productions ride rolls there in position number 3, as he's kind of been a bit of a sandwich here between all the redemption rides out there on the racetrack, as Applegate, Underwood, the 20 of Aiden Lucas, the 11 of Jordan Hand, all a part of that Redemption Motorsports team here, all up inside the top 5. The only one inside the top 5 not a part of that team is Josh Kreider, so he could be feeling like a little bit of a lonely duck out there in position number 3. As Blackwell back in 6 with Landon Burbage racing his way back up and through the field here. Looks like potentially putting on a fresh set of tires onto that 2 ride, and here he is working himself back up into the top 6 on the racetrack as he makes the move around the 18 ride of Noah Blackwell. Ooh, good thing for Blackwell that Landon Burbage did not decide to hold a grudge right there and try to give him a shot right there, as that could have been very bad for the 18 ride, as I'm sure he was getting a little nervous seeing this orange beautiful Prince's Towing ride roll back to his rear bumper there after the contact between Noah Blackwell, Burbage, and the 31 to bring out that last caution flag. As Evan Stewart rolls there in eighth, we do see Dylan Carrier trying to make the move around him, and there he goes down low, making that pass and jumping back up into position number 8 here himself this evening. As Evan Stewart does slide back to 9th, Jonathan Gaston there in that Gaston's iRacing Graphics 72 ride there in 10th with Connolly. Farrell Robbins, our farthest back playoff driver up to this point. Unfortunately for Farrell, he is not in position to earn any stage points here this evening, and that is a tough thing for the driver that is the farthest back in our point standings as of right now. So not getting any of those stage points, only going to make it even worse for that 76 to try to advance into the next round, and it may even put him into a potential must-win situation. But for Grant Applegate being out in front, leading the way here in this stage, looking to try to pick up that stage win, could earn himself some very valuable extra points here this evening, as he's only 2 points behind Brian Underwood and Josh Kreider, and right now both of those drivers are right behind him, so he is in a tight battle there with Kreider and Underwood for potentially moving up and into the next round, as 3 drivers out of the 9 will be eliminated here this evening. Jordan Hand right there as well. Jordan, he is only about 5 points ahead of Grant Applegate, as Applegate's only 2 points behind Josh Kreider and Underwood. So for Applegate, he's sitting pretty right now. And then we do see Blackwell right there. He's also only about 3 points back behind Josh Kreider and Brian Underwood as well. So the points are very, very tight, and our playoff drivers are very close together out there on the racetrack. They are not backing down. They are not giving up, and it's going to come down to that final run of the day and who can maybe put themselves up and into victory lane here in this one. As Sure Holler says, every car legit. Come on, number 99, Ryan cheered on that 99 machine here, Ryan Holler this afternoon. As Holler back in position number 15. Unfortunately, did get a little damage there off that last caution flag, but he's got that car still rolling in the right direction, still on the lead lap, and sits there in that 15th position. Jordan Kreider back there behind him as he's trying to keep that machine rolling in the right direction as he sits back as the last car on the lead lap. As Applegate, though, Applegate out in front, just completed lap number 33. We're about 17 laps away from our first stage break of the evening. But with stage number 1 in mind, we do end the stage, but we do not have a mandatory caution flag. So for these drivers, they know that this could actually be a much longer run than that 50 lap marker. As on the completion of lap number 50, our first stage of the day will officially come to a close, but we will keep it clean and green, finding that we actually have an issue out there on the racetrack. So we could run right from this point on straight forward to the end of stage number 2 before we see that next yellow there on lap 100. But for these drivers, they know that those oh so valuable points, you need to have a good run. You need to try to earn those stage points. And for right now, Grant Applegate looking to try to get this stage win and trying to maybe work himself close enough that it could maybe draw him even with Brian Underwood, Josh Kreider, or any of these other drivers for potentially earning the stage win here this evening and putting himself tied with them going into that second stage and our final stage here to try to advance into the next round of our playoffs. Is Landon Burbage, he's moving forward here. Burbage came down pit road after getting tied up in that last wreck there down in corner number 1 and 2, and now he's got some fresh tires on. He's moving forward. It's a little contact there again between him and the 20 ride of Aiden Lucas. Lucas trying to hang on to position number 4, but he will slide back now into 5th out there on the racetrack. As Landon Burbage came in, scored as our second most points on the on this stage of our playoffs here, this 2-race stint, this round of the playoffs, and he was feeling probably pretty good coming into this race, obviously having that early issue, but being able to rebound, race his way up into the top 4, potentially able to get a couple more spots here before the end of the stage could put him into a very, very good spot here this evening. And for Aiden Lucas, Lucas is our points leader right now, rolling back there in that 5th position. Now, if I'm not wrong, I do stand to be corrected. I do believe Aiden Lucas won last week's race. So for Aiden, back up into victory lane last week, getting hot at the right time, and now it doesn't have to really worry too much about this race for that 20 ride, as for Aiden Lucas picking up that win last week automatically locked him in to the next round of our Premium Stock Car Racing League playoffs. So out of the 6 that transfer through into our 3rd round of the playoffs here after tonight, it is one of those spots going to go to that 20 ride no matter what happens to him here this evening. So for Aiden Lucas, definitely a breath of fresh air, definitely a bit of an easy laid back race for him, but he can still try to help advance his teammates into the next round by trying to play some positions, try to give them pointers, or try to just keep them kind of rolling out there on the racetrack and trying to work all 4 of the Redemption Motorsports teammates up and into the next round of the playoffs. Right now, it's going to be a tough thing to do as Applegate, he's on the outside looking in, and he's really battling with Brian Underwood, Josh Kreider, and Jordan Hand. So 2 of those 3 drivers are his teammates. They're looking to hopefully maybe knock out Josh Kreider and move all 4 on to the next round. But Dylan Carrier, Landon Burbage, they could still be eliminated here tonight as well with some bad wrecks out there or more issues for either one of those competitors. Could make their night a whole lot worse in a quick hurry. As Applegate continues to lead the way here at Phoenix, nice and easy down through corner number 1 and out of quarter number 2. He'll head us back down the back straightaway here at Phoenix as he's got about a second gap between himself and Brian Underwood. Josh Kreider right there in 3rd with Landon Burbage back in 4th. Aiden Lucas there in 5th with Jordan Hand, William Connolly, Dylan Carrier, Noah Blackwell, and Evan Stewart rounding out our top 10 out there on the racetrack. Now, out of our top 10 right now, only Evan Stewart and William Connolly are not a part of our playoffs, as our 8 playoff drivers out there are still up inside the top 10. Our 9th playoff driver, unfortunately the only one outside the top 10 right now, is the 76 of Farrell Robbins. We saw Robbins run into issues early on in this race, get some pretty significant front end damage after making contact between himself and the 88 ride of James Efa, and then obviously spinning around there out of corner number 2, making hard contact with the inside wall there, the pit wall, and unfortunately for that number 76, still looking to try to rebound as he rolls back there in that 13th position. But for Applegate, he's a man on a mission here this evening. He knew that his name was below that cut line, knew that he was potentially going to be one of the 3 drivers to be eliminated from our playoffs here this evening if he did not have a great run, if he did not have a good race. Again, it could have potentially, it still can potentially eliminate himself from these playoffs here this year. And for Applegate, He's looking to go back to that championship race. He wants to battle for that championship once again. He was a part of it last season. Fell just a little bit short to his now teammate, Brian Underwood, who's right there behind him. Now Underwood and Applegate are two teammates that are battling here for potentially that final playoff position. Josh Kreiner is right there in that hunt as well, as him and the sixth ride of Brian Underwood both came into this race tied in points, only a couple points above that cut line here today. So we'll have to wait and see if Kreiner can find a little extra speed here in our closing laps of stage number 1, looking to try to maybe jump up, earn that extra point, give himself that at least 1 point different advantage here over that 6 machine of Brian Underwood here today. But Underwood, he's going to be looking to try to hang on to it. He doesn't want to give up those points. He doesn't want to give up that extra little bit here this evening. So we'll have to keep an eye on that move, as we do see William Connolly. Connolly comes down pit side. So Connolly making the call, heads down pit road. One of our first drivers, or actually the first driver to make a green flag pit stop here this evening. Trying to get in front of it here. He knew that potentially, obviously stage points aren't going to really affect him, aren't going to help him here today. So just coming down pit road and maybe making some strategy calls to try to help himself and advance himself through the field and maybe put himself into a winning situation for the 25 ride. Definitely what he was kind of banking on as he comes down pit road before everybody else, as everyone else going to still roll out there for at least a couple more laps here before they even think about coming down pit road, especially for all of our playoff competitors here. Know that each and every point is so vital, so important, that you do not want to give them up here in stage number 1. As Applegate continues to lead the way, 2-second gap now between himself and Brian Underwood is down across the line. They will complete lap 49. Next time around, we will complete lap 50, and stage number 1 will come to an end as the 6 of Brian Underwood trying to hold on to position number 2. Josh Kreiner doing everything he can, trying to hold on to position number 3 as Landon Burbage trying to take it away from him. Aiden Lucas and Jordan Hand back here. Looks like Aiden going to move up the track, allow the 11 right his teammate to earn that extra stage point here this evening, as Applegate from below the cut line gets the job done here in stage number 1, as he will be our first stage winner here this evening. Brian Underwood, Josh Kreiner here. Let's take a look back at the official start-finish line here. I'm not sure who ended up getting that 3rd spot, as it looks like it was a drag race here between these two, as they were battling back to the start-finish line, looking to see who could potentially snag that 3rd place points in stage number 1, and it looks like right there it is that 2 ride. So Landon Burbage will be in position number 3. They're stealing a point away from Josh Kreiner there in stage number 1. That's a tough break right there for Josh Kreiner. That point may come back to bite him late on this evening, as he does slide back up into 3rd here. Burbage back behind him in 4th. Jordan Hand there in 5th with Aiden Lucas, Noah Blackwell, Dylan Carrier, Evan Stewart, and Jonathan Gaston rounding out our top 10 there in stage number 1. Unfortunately for Farrell Robbins, he did not earn any stage points there in that first stage, and for the driver that was at the back of our point standings here for this race, for the farthest back driver there in the championship. Unfortunately, not getting any stage points here again. Going to fall even farther behind that cut line, and that is not the place you want to be for James Robbins here this evening, or Farrell Robbins here this afternoon, as unfortunately he was a lot of points back, Jet. A lot of points back. I do believe he was about 24 points back of Noah Blackwell, something like that. 24 points back behind Blackwell, somewhere around there. A lot of points behind a lot of these guys, and unfortunately, not the place you want to be out there on the speedways. Some good hard racing, though, out in front, as Applegate continue to lead the way, continue to look to try to stretch out that race lead. We did see the 25 ride head down pit side, make that green flag pit stop for William Connolly. He is a lap down out there on the racetrack, but has those fresh tires, the fuel in that 25. He's looking to use those to try to leapfrog some other drivers, as right now tire fall off has been about a second, maybe a little bit. So getting closer to that 2.25 of tire fall off, more towards that 1.5-second area. So with those fresher tires, the faster car right now with the better tires if they're on the racetrack, this 25 right going to look to try to leapfrog a lot of these other competitors as they start to make their green flag pit stops, and he's just going to kind of roll around them out there until they do head down pit side. But obviously this pit strategy may work out well. It may hurt him here later in this second stage, as we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out once things kind of get rolling here, and we see more and more of these drivers elect to come down pit road. As Applegate out in front, Applegate continue to lead the way as they do have 5 sets of tires back behind pit wall here today. So that's a good amount. That's a lot of tires out there on the racetrack. A 200-lap race. We did see that, the number, you want to call it 25 right there, kind of split that kind of run right there. So maybe trying to go 50 laps, and then if there's that late race caution flag or a couple late race yellows, maybe you throw on that extra set or two there on your race cars. Here we go. Our race leader, Grant Applegate, he's not going to wait much longer. He heads down pit side. So Applegate now down pit road, making his first green flag pit stop of the evening for that Red Bull Toyota as he'll head down into pit stall number 1 here this evening. Quickest there in qualifying, led all the first 50 laps of this race. Actually, the first 55, 56 laps of this race before finally electing to head down pit road. Now this time by, we will see Josh Kreider, Brian Underwood, Noah Blackwell. They head down pit road here themselves, so they did not want to wait much longer after seeing that number 57 come down pit side. As here we go, we see him roll back out there onto the racetrack, and you see the 25 right here of Connolly. Connolly was back in about that 8th, 9th position, but able to leapfrog everybody with the newer tires there over those final last 10 laps or so on the racetrack, and he virtually closed a 10-15 second gap between himself and Applegate. Now Applegate does have the better tires now. He'll look to try to pull away from Connolly, but Connolly staying right there with them, which is now in position number 2. So a heck of a run right there as we still see Jordan Hand out in front leading this race. Aiden Lucas there in second, but here they come down pit road. Dylan Carrier now going to consume the race lead as he will move around a couple of these other drivers. And for the 31, he's now into the top spot, but right there behind him you see a couple of these drivers that are on the newer tires trying to battle and duke it out back there behind him, as that is Brian Underwood and Josh Kreider duking it out here for what could be a battle for 3rd and 4th out there on the racetrack, as Jordan Hand and Lucas both down pit side. Dylan Carrier, the last driver, one of our last drivers to make this pit stop here this evening, as now we finally see that 31 head down pit road. Still has a little bit of that left rear damage there on his run. Now Farrell Robbins, the last driver here of our playoffs to come down pit road here, so definitely trying to make a little bit bigger of a splash here, trying to find a little bit of a different run and maybe trying to use a little bit of a different pit strategy here this evening to eventually potentially put himself up and into victory lane. So for Farrell Robbins, he rolls there now into the 3rd position as Gaston and Haller yet to come down pit road, but our final playoff driver yet to make his way down pit side is Applegate, able to jump up into position number 4. Connolly, see that gap already growing. That's 10 lap different tires right there, chat. We didn't see too long ago Applegate was able to roll around that 25 right of William Connolly for what could be that race lead, and already has about a 4-second gap between himself and this 25 ride. As here comes Josh Kreider, Brian Underwood right there behind him. Noah Blackwell back there in position number 8 with Aiden Lucas there in 9th, Landon Burbage there in 10th. Jordan Hand back into 11th with Jordan Kreider, Evan Stewart, and Dylan Carrier rolling out in position number 14. Ben Gleason there in 15th. And then we see Wyatt Mickelson, Chris Getz, Danny White unfortunately off the racetrack, and James Eva also off of the speedway as of right now. As Gaston still rolling out there, but we do see Farrell Robbins, that Gaston's iRacing Graphics Old Dogs Racing number 76 ride, finally make his green flag pit stop here as he's looking to just get a good solid pit stop. No issues, no penalties, able to roll back out there and try to keep himself in the hunt here this evening as the 72 of Gaston continue to roll out there. He's yet to come down pit road at all here this evening, and he has made this a 64-lap run so far here today in our longest run of the evening. Our first 25 laps of this race got off to a bit of a rough start, a bunch of caution flags early on, but things have kind of settled down a little bit. Things are a little bit more cool, calm, and collective here this evening. And for the 72, Jonathan Gaston looking to try to use a little pit strategy, a little field strategy to his advantage to maybe try to pick up a big win here this evening. As Ryan Haller back there in position number 2. Applegate rolls in position number 3 for Applegate. He is one of the front runners here this evening. He was our race leader before these green flag pit stops got underway. And for the 57 ride, he rolls right now in position number 3, but has a fairly sensible gap about 6 seconds back. We see Josh Kreider, Brian Underwood, William Connolly, Noah Blackwell. They're in position number 7 with Aiden Lucas, Landon Burbage. That number 11 of Jordan Hand right there behind him. A bit of a gap all the way back now to the 31 of Dylan Carrier. Carrier trying to keep himself still on the lead lap here this evening as Evan Stewart, Ben Gleason back there. Gleason now unofficially a lap down and currently in our free pass spot out there on the racetrack as Jordan Kreider, Farrell Robbins all down a lap now, as well as Chris Getz and multiple laps down there for Wyatt Mickelson, as well as Danny White and unfortunately James Efoss still off of the speedway as Gaston continues to roll out there and now finally heads down pit side. So Gaston could not wait any longer, finally takes the 72 ride down pit road, and he will make his first pit stop of the day here during this green flag pit stops here this evening. Is Ryan Haller. He was down pit road on lap number 20, and for Haller, he is now our race leader here. The 99 ride leads this race, and looks like, maybe with that 20 laps, he came down pit road around lap number 20, so he could have that extra little bit of fuel in this 99 ride, could potentially be able to stretch out this fuel run and maybe make it to the end of this stage, but I think he's still going to fall quite a bit short right there. We saw, obviously the couple drivers that stayed out a little longer, like Jonathan Gaston. He was rolling out there for about 67, 68 laps before making that green flag pit stop for the 99 rider Ryan Haller to be able to make it that distance here. That would only put him to about lap number 88, so he'd still be about 12 laps shy of being able to complete this stage with the hopes of not having to make a green flag pit stop. I don't think that's going to be in the cards, though. That is a very, very long green flag run for the 99, not to blow through that fuel and unfortunately not have to make his way down pit side, as they would turn that 68 lap run that we just saw out of that 72 ride into an 80 lap run here for the 99. And even if he tries to make it that far, he's going to be so far off the pace, trying to save so much fuel that I think it's just going to be everyone else passing him no matter what with the fresher tires. And now we finally do see that 99 ride head down pit side. There goes Applegate right on around him, and Applegate will jump back out in front. So he lost the lead there for a few laps during these green flag pit stops, but now has that race lead back again this evening. And now he's looking to try to jump up here, make some moves, try to keep these guys back there at bay, and hoping to try to pick up this second stage win of the day, as well as it would be another massive stage win for that 57 ride, and his hopes to try to keep his dreams alive and move on to the next round of our playoffs. Does now want to be one of the 3 drivers that will be eliminated here this evening. It's Josh Kreider right there behind him, Brian Underwood there in third. Noah Blackwell back and forth with Aiden Lucas, William Connolly, Jordan Hand right there. Is Hand going to make the move around the 25 ride of William Connolly? Unfortunately for William, definitely the strategy not working out too well for him right now as he continues to fall farther and farther back, as here comes Landon Burbage looking to get around him. A bit of a gap back to that number 31 of Dylan Carrier, Evan Stewart there rounding out our top 10. And then we see Ben Gleason, Jonathan Gaston, Jordan Kreider, the 99 of Ryan Holler, the 76 of Farrell Robbins, unfortunately now scored a lap down back here in position number 15 on the racetrack, and that is not the spot you want to be if you want to try to keep your playoff hopes alive. And for that, number 76 Ryan, he came into this race as one of those potential eliminated drivers here. He was outside that bubble, and unfortunately not the run he was hoping for here tonight at Phoenix. As Applegate, though, continues to lead the way down across the line. Lap 74 completed here this evening. So 26 laps of racing action left to go here today as each and every one of these drivers looking to try to pick up the big checkered flag, looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane, or just looking to try to survive and maybe work themselves into a solid run here this evening and just try to advance into that next round of our playoffs. So let's see if we can jump on board here with, let's jump on board with Jordan. Now let's jump on board with this two-rider Landon Burbage or one of these drivers. Yeah, who we jump on board with? Let's jump on board with Jordan Hand here. So we're going to jump on board next time around with Jordan Hand. As Jordan right now rolling in position number 6, trying to race his way up inside the top 5. Sees that 18 ride of Noah Blackwell right there in front of him. And for the Oklahoma City Thunder, number 11 machine of Jordan Hand trying to earn that extra point here this evening, as we will jump on board here with the 11 ride and take you through a lap around this beautiful racetrack here at Phoenix Raceway. Alrighty, there is a lap around the track with this 11 ride of Jordan Hand. We'll take you back through here as he sends it down deep into corner number 1. Tries to roll through this corner. Big, wide, sweeping turns here at Phoenix, and then back onto the throttle, looking for a big run, trying to stay out of that blue wall there on corner exit. And then all that speed built up, you got to quickly get back onto the binders. Roll nice and easy down low or through the middle here of corner number 3 and 4, and back down across the line. And then this is the big part right there, that dog leg. You can either stay on the racing surface above that yellow line, or you can go down below it. It is fair game down low. You don't have to roll on the racing surface. You can head down onto the apron and make that big move to try and advance yourself. Try to get some extra laps or some extra speed out there, or just that little bit of an advantage you may need to make that move, as most drivers right around the start finish line will make that hard left-hand turn down below that yellow line, and they will cut that little bit of a sliver of that racetrack off of the speedway here, trying to make it a little bit shorter. Maybe makes it a little bit faster, but it's a treacherous area to try to jump down and into, as you can run into a lot of debris, a lot of dirt and grime down there on the apron. And unfortunately, a lot of times we see drivers end up putting themselves into more worse issues than better issues, trying to use that apron to their advantage and cut that dog leg. Is out in front now with 80 laps completed here. Only 20 laps left to go here in stage number 2. And for the 57 rider, Grant Applegate, he is out in front, and he is absolutely gone. Almost 8 seconds, the gap between himself and Josh Kreider, as Kreider rolls there in position number 2. It's Brian Underwood back there in 3rd. So for 2 of those drivers that were just above that cut line, they're having pretty solid runs, but the driver that was right behind them looking to bypass them and move their way up another, move up a spot or 2 and advance himself into the next round of the playoffs, is currently out in front. Applegate has been that reflection of perfection here this evening as he continues to lead the way. Stage number 1 earned himself 10 points right there, where it gave him an extra point towards catching Brian Underwood, and with Josh Kreider coming home in 4th, as that 2-rider Landon Burbage was able to beat Kreider back down across the line. He ends up losing I do believe, what, 2 more points, 3 more points there to Grant Applegate. Unfortunately, that's going to put Applegate almost tied with that number 5 ride of Josh Kreider for points going into this second round. So things are very, very tight between Applegate, Josh Kreider, and Brian Underwood here, and it could come right down to the very end, the nitty-gritty, the final few laps, especially if there's some late race caution flags. It could definitely become a very, very interesting race in a quick hurry. And then you throw in Jordan Hand here. Hand was only about 6 points ahead of Grant Applegate. I do believe Jordan Hand came home in 5th place there in stage number 1, and right now rolls in that 5th position as well. He is losing stage points to Applegate, Josh Kreider, and Brian Underwood in all 3 of these stages, or 2 of these stages potentially, where that's going to close that gap even more with that 11 ride of Jordan Hand. So it's going to get tight, chat. It's going to get very, very tight in a quick hurry. Even throw in Landon Burbage. Burbage was able to come home 3rd there in that first stint. Luckily enough, able to get some pretty solid points there. But now he rolls in 6th here on the racetrack. That's going to allow Applegate, Kreider, Underwood to gain some more points on him and potentially, close that gap even on the number 2 machine of Landon Burbage. And same with Dylan Carrier there. Carrier had a decent run in that first stage, but not too good, and he is still not safe here. The only driver that is safe from elimination here this evening is that 20 ride of Aiden Lucas. And as Aiden rolls there in position number 4, he continues to look for more out there on the racetrack, but he knows that he is clean and green. He doesn't have to worry about anything here this evening. He can just kind of run his race, hit his marks, make sure he doesn't have any problems, and maybe trying to help advance his teammates into the next round of the playoffs. But it's very, very hard to do that when a couple of your teammates are battling each other for that final spot in the points here in this round. As Applegate looking to try to leapfrog both Josh Kreider and Brian Underwood, he may be able to do that here, especially with this good run. And if he wins this race, it could potentially, well, that will lock him into the next round, where it'll move Josh Kreider and Brian Underwood down to that cut line. And both these two have been right there, nose to tail, battling for quite a few laps there. They came in tied in points, where in that first stage, Kreider fell back to 4th. Brian Underwood came home in 2nd, so that allowed Underwood to actually gain 2 points on Josh Kreider. So now he's got a 2-point gap between himself and that 5 ride, but Kreider now leading him here in this second stage. Potentially could get one of those points back, or potentially could see Underwood fall even farther back, because a pair of his teammates back there behind him, and they could both really catch up and put the pressure onto the 11 machine of Jordan Hand as well, another one of their teammates. So the Redemption Motorsports crew, they've been so close, they've been so tight together each and every one of these races here this year, but right now it is a very, very treacherous spot for them to be playing out there on the racetrack, because one of them could eventually or potentially be eliminated, and if they run into problems, potentially even 2 or 3 of them could find themselves on the outside of that playoff bubble looking in, as Noah Blackwell, one of those other drivers that came in below that cut line here this evening, has had a fairly solid run up inside that top 10 here all evening long. Maybe he can make some moves late in this race, maybe surprise guys and jump up and maybe steal this win away and lock himself into the next round and move that cut line back another spot where maybe a couple of those drivers could get eliminated. Maybe we see the 76 ride find some miraculous speed late in this race, and for Farrell Robbins maybe putting himself back into the action out there, but right now he is a lap down, scored back in 14th. Ryan Haller is in front of him here. Haller is a lap down to Grant Applegate here, so right now it is Jonathan Gaston and Ryan Haller who are in front of Farrell Robbins, both a lap down, both in that free pass position before that 76 ride, as Gaston's been right there with our race leader. He's been hanging right with them here. He does have about about 10 lap better tires than our race leader, so that's what's really helping Gaston out, battling here and duking it out with that 57 ride. Now, if he was able to make the move, get around him, get that lap back, potentially gives that lap back to Ryan Haller for the lucky dog at our stage break here. That's only a couple laps away here, as 92 laps completed here this evening for Applegate. Only 8 laps left to go here in stage number 2, as he's looking to try to pick up that second stage win of the day. Landon Burbage trying to slide up there, trying to hunt down that 11 right at shorthand, and maybe potentially giving himself an extra point here towards our playoffs here this evening. So if he can catch that number 11, potentially moving the 11 machine of Jordan Hand back another spot, losing another playoff point to Kreiner and Underwood and Applegate out there, and potentially putting another one into the bank, or at least helping Landon Burbage potentially move forward and race his way into the next round here as well. So we'll have to wait and see if Jordan can hang on to 5th, or if Landon Burbage can hunt him down and make the move around that 11 ride to steal position number 5 here in stage number 2. As Grant Applegate, nice and easy, gonna roll down through that dog leg right there, able to stay in front of the 72 ride of Jonathan Gaston, as I'm sure Applegate, he definitely wants to see at least one of our playoff competitors down a lap and potentially stuck in a tough position where Farrell Robbins may not be able to get that lap back. He's gonna have to hope for some more yellow flags and potentially try to get that lucky dog or a wave around to put himself back into the racing action. But for right now, he sits back in 14th, and he is outside the playoff cut line by quite a bit. As see that 57 again clicks off another lap. He's been out in front pretty much all day long. He has been picture perfect, and right now has about a 6-second gap between himself and Josh Kreider. Kreider has been closing the gap, has been hunting him down here a little bit, but unfortunately that gap is so big, and with only about 4 laps left to go here in this stage, Applegate can just be on cruise control right now. He can just be kind of chilling out there, just rolling out there, not having to worry too much about, having anyone catch up or trying to steal the stage win away from him. Over 5 seconds between himself and Josh Kreider. Even farther back, about 9 seconds back, we see Brian Underwood. He's got Aiden Lucas not too far away from him. There's short in hand as well. And then you see that 2 Ryan Landon Burbage back there in 6th. Noah Blackwell there in 7th, trying to hold on to that 7th position. But it is Dylan Carrier looking to try to take that point away from the 18 ride. They were tight right there, door to door, down through corner 1 and 2. The 18 ride, though, able to get a good run on corner exit and keep that 31 ride back there at bay. But we will see Dylan Carrier try to jump back up and maybe steal another point away from that 18 machine here this evening as Applegate. Nice and easy down into corner number 3 and out of 4. Applegate will click up another lap, and we'll get 2 more laps left here in stage number 2 here this evening. Is Applegate a man on a mission here this evening, as we do see Dylan Carrier able to slide in from the 18 ride of Noah Blackwell. Have to wait and see if Blackwell can find a big run here in our closing laps of stage number 2 to try and steal that point back away from the 31. Unfortunately, used that dog leg, still couldn't get the run he was looking for. Got up high there into corner number 1, now trying to get a big run down through corner number 2 and down this back straightaway, trying to get back to the rear bumper here of that 31 machine of Dylan Carrier. Carrier does have about 3 lap better tires, and that is all sometimes you need to try to work yourself a little closer to the front of the field. As Applegate continue to lead the way there, gets a little loose, but able to keep that car pointing in the right direction as he keeps on rolling down through quarter number 3. Nice and easy out of quarter number 4. It is Grant Applegate who will pick up stage win number 2 here this evening. So Applegate wins stage 1 and stage 2 here this evening, and for a playoff driver that was below the cut line here this evening, a great run to start this race, and looking like he's got a car that could potentially pick up this win here this evening, as we should see that caution break, that caution flag fly here in just a little bit. As there you go, there's the 66, our 10th place driver, finally crossing the start-finish line, and that will bring the caution flag out, completing our stage here this evening. And for Grant Applegate, able to win both those stages, man. Definitely exactly where he wants to be here this evening. Let's see if we can maybe pull Applegate in for a quick little in-race interview. Let's see if we can pull him up here into the booth, but we'll wait and see if pit road is open here. If pit road's open, yes it is. Okay, so he is coming down pit road. What we'll do is we'll wait for him to kind of jump in here and see if we can try to get him up for a little post-race interview here after his pit stop, as we don't want to mess him up. We don't want to make him slide through his pit box or make him a little slow on pit exit here or anything else that could affect him and potentially hurt his chances of making it into the next round. So we'll be patient here and we'll wait to bring our stage winner here, our two-stage winner here, into the booth, as he was able to win stage 1 and stage 2 here this evening. Now he heads down into his beautiful Red Bull Racing pit stall here. Everyone else back behind him finds their pit stalls and getting ready to roll back out onto the racetrack. But some fresh tires, some fuel into their rides, and rolling back out onto the racetrack. And you do see the 57 able to beat everyone back off of pit road right there. So Applegate gonna get ready to go back to green flag racing in just a little bit with our race lead still out there on the racetrack. So here we go. We'll pull Grant up here into the booth. Hey, Grant, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. They get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Grant, man, a heck of a run, heck of a drive here so far tonight, as you were one of those drivers below the elimination line here this evening. Definitely not a spot you want to be, so you had a goal in mind, and that was to try to earn as many points as possible, and you're already able to do that so far in the first half of this race. Winning stage 1 and winning stage number 2, man. How much of a breath of fresh air does that give your lungs heading into this final stage?
It's a big weight off my shoulders. Now it's just kind of finishing it out. I feel like I'm the best car. Me and Josh are pretty similar. Depends on pit road and stuff, but yeah, pretty similar between me and Josh. So we'll see how this goes. Just need to not screw up. It's real loose out here, so mistakes are easy to make.
Absolutely. Mistakes are always very, very easy to make, but hopefully we'll see you hang on and advance yourself into the next round of our playoffs here. Grant, good luck out there, and hopefully we'll see you back up in the broadcast booth later tonight.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, there is our Stage 1 and Stage 2 winner here this evening, Grant Applegate, as he gets ready to go back to green flag here. We get ready to jump into our Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up, as we are just a little over halfway into this race. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. Caution flag on the racetrack here during our Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. Yellow flag will be displayed here on lap 113 here this evening, as it looks like some issues for Noah Blackwell. Blackwell gonna run into a problem here a little deeper in the field. Let's take a look here and see what happens as he's battling here. It's Josh Kreider down to his inside, and it looks like these two just gonna make a little contact here out of corner number 2. You watch the 18 ride up on the high side, the 5 ride down low. Looks like Kreider just gets a little bit worse of an exit right there, and all of a sudden it washes up into that 18 machine, and heavy contact there for Noah Blackwell. Man, that is a tough break for one of our playoff drivers here this evening, as a pair of them get tied together as Kreider down low. That looks like he's going to try to fall in line behind the 18 ride. I think he thought he was already behind the 18, and all of a sudden comes up and just hooks him right there. I think he thought the 18 had completed that pass, or maybe just didn't even realize that he was up there, and all of a sudden just comes up the racetrack, makes that contact into that left rear quarter panel, spins the 18 right around, and heavy damage into that inside fence. Man, a heartbreaker here for Noah Blackwell. Let's see if we can jump on board and watch this from the cockpit of this number 18. Heartbreaker right there for that 18 ride, as Noah Blackwell, one of those playoff drivers that came into this race, unfortunately he was below the cut line here this evening. He was not inside our cut line here today, and now back there behind pit walls trying to get this 18 ride fixed up here, trying to get this car back out onto the racetrack. Unfortunately, it looks like he has already went a couple laps down out there on the speedway. So for the 18 ride, potentially seeing his playoff dreams come to an end here this evening, as he sits down there on pit road, sees all these other playoff drivers still rolling out there on the racetrack, continue to battle, continue to have a good time, and unfortunately not enough stage points or anything else to really help affect his chances here this evening, and being parked down pit road for an extended period of time, he continues to fall farther and farther back, and potentially could fall out of this race here this evening, and could no longer be a part of our playoffs here this year, as that's not where you want to be, as we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. Some drivers elected to come down pit road, other drivers stayed out right there. So we see Underwood, Jonathan Gaston, Connolly, and Gleason all stay out. They lead us back down to the green flag, as you do see Grant Applegate back there in position number 5, as here we go. Back to green flag racing, back to battle here in Phoenix, and we'll go right back to our Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So once again, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers. Look out, contact, drivers turned around, one of those being Grant Applegate. Is Applegate, Landon Burbage, Aiden Lucas, Jordan Hand, all collected in that one. 4 of our playoff competitors. Heavy damage down the back straightaway here at Phoenix, as cautions, breeding cautions. And we see the big one here on the back straightaway. A big one here on the backstretch. A bunch of drivers collected here, as you see Applegate down low, looking to make the move, looking to try to slide up into position number 2 on the racetrack here. Connolly to his outside, but there's contact back behind him here, and for the second time in a row, it looks like potentially the 5 ride of Josh Kreider going to get a piece of one of these drivers, and unfortunately it's the 72 of Jonathan Gaston who's going to get turned right here. So Gaston tries to come down the racetrack. Unfortunately, the 5 ride trying to come up on corner exit. They make contact. They get tied together. It sends the 72 ride down the speedway, which collects the 57 of Applegate. Applegate washes back up the track, up almost into the fence, but he finds Ben Gleason. Gets heavy contact there between himself and the 66 ride. Then they're going to make contact again, and it's going to send Applegate up and into the outside fence. Here comes Jordan Hand in there to give him another whack right there there. Heavy damage there to Jordan Hand. Then he gets hit again there from the 66 run. You see Ryan Haller trying to get checked up. Unfortunately, he does get a piece of Applegate, giving that car a little bit more damage as Landon Burbage and Aiden Lucas, they're trying to stay out of this as well. They're trying to keep themselves pointed the right direction here. Now, Landon quite a few car lengths behind the other orange car down low here on that yellow line as Aiden trying to follow in behind the 5 machine. They're just going to end up making some contact here as he's trying to get this good run, trying to stick with them. All of a sudden, Aiden's on the binders getting checked up. The 2 Ryan could not react quick enough, gets into the back end of him, gets heavy damage there himself, and then drives back down low here, gets some more contact and damage there between him and that 20 Ryan. So for Landon Burbage, Aiden Lucas, Grant Applegate, and the 11 of Jordan Hand, 4 of our playoff competitors here this evening, now running into issues there on that yellow flag. So our playoff driver is definitely running into issues here as we do see Noah Blackwell back out there on the racetrack. Unfortunately here for Noah, I do believe he is at least 1 lap down out there on the speedway. Going to be looking for some wave arounds or some lucky dogs, trying to work himself back onto the lead lap here this evening. But unfortunately right now scored back in the 14th spot. That's definitely not where he wants to be, but I'm sure he's going to feel pretty happy seeing some of those other playoff drivers run into issues. Is now Josh Kreider, Dylan Carrier 1 and 2. They will lead us back to the green flag here in this one as, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you came here for a show. Well, here we go as we're going to get ready to go back to battle. And once again, we'll jump into our Peacemaker Gaming. Crank it up. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for all these drivers. A beautiful crank it up session here this evening on Peacemaker Gaming with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. As just a little under 70 laps left to go here in this race. Still a lot of time to try to drive your way up to the front of the field. Still a lot of time to try to put yourself up and into victory lane or trying to advance into the next round of our playoffs here this evening. As the number 6 ride here, you're going to go look down. That is Brian Underwood. Underwood, currently our race leader here this evening. Underwood leads the way, and right there behind him it is Josh Kreider. Kreider rolls in position number 2. So a pair of drivers that were right on the cusp of potentially not advancing into the next round of the playoffs now roll there in first and second here on the speedway. For Jordan Hand, he's right there in 30. He's another one of those drivers that kind of has a question mark here on where he's sitting heading into this final run of the day potentially in that 11 ride. So definitely having to kind of worry about it, trying to make sure he races his way up here at the front of the field, tries to hang on to a solid finish and hoping that he can advance his way into the next round of the playoffs. Same with Dylan Carrier there in that 31 ride. Aiden Lucas, he's breathing easy right now as he won last week's race. He's locked into the next round of the playoffs. Doesn't have to worry about where he finishes here today. He can come dead last and he can still work his way into the next round no matter what. Ben Gleason, one of our non-playoff drivers, rolls there in position number 6, and then Oscar Meyer, number 66, and right there behind him, we do see Grant Applegate. Applegate has been fairly dominant here this evening, leading a ton of laps and winning stage 1 and stage number 2, and for a driver that was on the outside of that elimination line, unfortunately came into this race as potentially one of those drivers that could be eliminated here this evening. That 57 ride, he's been lights out, winning both stages, earning the maximum stage points that you can on the day, trying to help his cause and trying to race his way into the next round of the playoffs. But right now, seeing Brian Underwood leading this race, Josh Kreider there in second. His chances are very much up and into the air. I know he's going to be trying to push and trying to race his way back up here to the front of the pack, trying to put himself into a winning situation again here this evening, and just trying to get as many points as possible to trying to advance into the next round. Landon Burbage came in with a solid points gap between himself and those bubble drivers here this evening in that cut line, and he's got to be feeling fairly confident about where he's running. He did get some decent stage points there in stage 1, some solid stage points there in stage number 2, and definitely that points gap, so he's probably feeling fairly confident about where he's rolling out there on the racetrack right now in that 8th position. For Farrell Robbins, unfortunately for Farrell, came in quite a ways below that stage line there, that elimination line, and unfortunately so far back, he came in as the 9th place driver. The bottom 3 out of the 9 drivers does get eliminated here this evening. And for the 76 ride, he was virtually in a must-win situation, especially now after not getting any stage points there in stage 1 or stage 2. So the 76 is back onto the lead lap. He's looking to continue to keep on rolling here towards the front of the field and maybe play some strategy that could eventually or potentially put him into victory lane and stealing one of these playoff spots away from one of the other drivers up there towards the front of the field. So we'll have to keep a close eye there on Farrell Robbins, and if he can get the job done here tonight, what that would mean for him going into the next round of the playoffs and then being able to potentially try to race for that championship still after this evening. As Gaston there behind him running out our top 10, then you see Ryan Haller back there in 11th in that beautiful number 99 ride. Noah Blackwell there in position number 12. Now Blackwell is the first car 1 lap down out there on the racetrack, and for the 18 ride, definitely hoping to get back onto the lead lap. Got tied up there in that 2 caution flags ago between him and Josh Kreider, as Kreider moved up the racetrack, unfortunately got into him there, knocked him loose and put him down into the inside wall. He almost did the same thing right there to himself, luckily enough able to hang on to it, able to keep that car rolling. Doesn't lose too much time or positions, as right now he's battling with a lot of our lead lap drivers out there on the racetrack. And for Noah Blackwell, being scored back in 12th. He was below that cut line as well. He got some stage points, but I don't know if it was enough to even get close to being able to leapfrog anybody, as I still feel like he had less stage points than Jordan Hand, Josh Kreider, Brian Underwood, and Grant Applegate, so he's still going to be below that cut line. And for the 18 ride, unfortunately, being a lap down, scored back in 12th, not the place you want to be with your playoff dreams potentially driving out and away from you in that front windshield here this evening. As Jordan Kreider scored back in position number 13, Chris gets there in 14th. Wyatt Mickelson, who got tied up in an early wreck here, had some pretty solid damage on that 10 ride, spent a few laps down pit road getting that thing repaired. Unfortunately, he's about 3-4 laps down out there on the racetrack. They're in 15th, just still trying to have some fun, enjoy his day, and see if he can learn anything extra or a little bit more speed, or try to find his way around this racetrack a little bit better here this evening, as the 10 ride scored back in the 15th position, and unfortunately still a lot of laps down for William Connolly, the 25. Ryan Connolly was running pretty good. We saw him a few times up there battling inside the top 5, but the 25 ride has now taken his car off of the racing surface and out of this race. Same with the 37, Evan Stewart. Stewart was up in around the top 10 there for a lot of this race here this evening. Now scored back in 17th and off the racetrack. We lost Danny White and James Efa early on in this race, as both those drivers unfortunately had some early issues, got a lot of early damage, and called their nights early here this evening. As Lonnie Kreider, what's good, Lonnie? Lonnie coming in, showing the love over there on YouTube, said, who let the dogs out? He says, some good racing, some great racing here tonight, Lonnie. How are you, brother? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful, wonderful Saturday night here on Peacemaker Gaming. As out in front, it's Brian Underwood. Underwood continue to lead the way, has 2-second gap between himself and Josh Kreider. Kreider has almost a 2-second gap here himself, between himself and Jordan Hand, so he's got it right in the middle between our first and third place drivers out there on the racetrack, as Dylan Carrier trying to hold on to position number 4 here on the racetrack. Aiden Lucas looking to try to take that 4th spot away. Ben Gleason having a heck of a run here in the second half of this race, as that Oscar Meyer 66 ride still rolling in that 6th position. Grant Applegate has not been able to find his way back around that 66 ride yet this evening, as Landon Burbage there in 8th now. He's about 5 seconds or better behind that next pack there in front of him. Our top, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 drivers up there at the front of the field. Unfortunately, he's about 5 seconds back behind those guys, so in kind of a tough spot for Landon Burbage right now back here deeper in the field. And a little farther back, you do see Farrell Robbins, the 72, Jonathan Gaston running at our top 10. A little farther behind them, you do see Ryan Haller, then Noah Blackwell, who is the first car 1 lap down still on the racetrack. He is really hoping to see a caution flag that he is not a part of, and hoping to get that lucky dog in the pass back on the lead lap here this evening to get himself right back into the actions. Now here we go, potentially green flag pit stops, as here comes that 57 of Grant Applegate. Applegate looking to try to use this early pit stop to his advantage, heads down pit road, and now all of a sudden, this is the money stops, ladies and gentlemen. This could potentially be the final green flag pit stop of the day. Potentially no more pit stops for any of these drivers, so this could be your last one. You want to make sure that you get a great set of tires on and hope that you don't have any penalties or any mistakes down pit road, and definitely do not want to see that right there as the caution flag does fly. Oh, we'll have to wait and see where Applegate gets lined up right here. This one may hurt him a ton, and unfortunately, I do believe Underwood was also just coming down pit road as well. There's Underwood down pit lane here, and the caution flag comes out. Now, I'm not sure what this yellow flag was even for. I don't see anyone turned around or anyone running into major issues here. Let's see if we can take a look back and maybe Ryan Haller. Nope, Haller's car looks to be pointing the right direction. Farrell Robbins is, Jonathan Gaston's is. There it is, right there. Landon Burbage and Noah Blackwell get tied together, as it looks like Blackwell trying to use that dog leg right here. We've seen him use it time and time again. This time, though, he comes down the track into the dog leg, and as he comes back up the speedway, this car just launches and shoots up the racetrack here. I'm not sure if he thought that the 2 ride was clear of him or not, but he falls in behind the 2 ride, trying to go to the high side. I'm not sure what the game plan was right there, or if maybe the steering wheel or something turned off, as almost seems like out of the dog leg, his car just all of a sudden goes dead straight. Let's take a look on board here with the 18 ride of Noah Blackwell. As Blackwell, see if we can get a look at it here. As here he comes down into the dog leg right here, and then all of a sudden rolls back out onto the track, and car just goes straight right there. Not sure what that was, or if something broke underneath this car, but you can see him trying to turn left, and the car is just still going straight. Unfortunately, that's where he gets a piece of the 2 ride to land in Burbage. Now Burbage spinning sideways here on the racetrack, just trying to keep this car pointing in the right direction. Wyatt Mickelson trying to avoid making contact there with him. Luckily enough, he does avoid any major damage there or contact between him and the 2 ride, but definitely a little bit of left rear contact there for the 2 off the nose of that 18 machine, and obviously for Noah Blackwell getting back up into the outside fence. He was in that free pass position, but being part of that caution flag, I'm not sure if he'll get that free pass or not here this evening. As you do see Applegate, he's going to get the wave around here around the pace car as he was down pit road, did technically go a lap down, so unfortunately for Applegate, that is going to end up burning a little bit of the tires off, but also going to lose a lot of track position here. He was rolling in about that 6th, 7th position before coming down pit road. Now he'll be scored all the way back here in position number 11 here this evening. And for Brian Underwood, still out in front here as he was able to keep on rolling down pit road and did not stop, so he'll get a chance to stay out in front there as he's going to get ready to lead us back to Green Flag Racing. Josh Kreider there in second. Aiden Lucas, Jordan Hand, the 31 of Dylan Carrier, the 66 of Ben Gleason, the 72 of Jonathan Gaston, the 76 of Farrell Robbins, Landon Burbage, the 99 of Ryan Haller, our top 10 with Applegate back here in position number 11. Noah Blackwell's back in position number 12, but he's still a lap down as here we go back to Green Flag Racing as we go back to battle here in this one for what could be our final restart of the day. About 48 laps of racing action left to go here in this one as Brian Underwood leads us nice and easy down and out of corner 1 and 2. Will take us down the back straightaway, looking to try to open up a bit of a gap between himself and Aiden Lucas. He's definitely going to be happy to see one of his teammates now into second here. Definitely going to make him feel a little bit more comfy late in this race if he can have a teammate or two back there behind him to try to help him out here and potentially locking himself into the next round of the playoffs and potentially getting his first win on the season as well. As Underwood rolls there in the top spot, it is Aiden Lucas up into second. Josh Kreider now trying to hold on to third here as the 11 rider Jordan Hand looking to try to take that third spot away from him as we do see the caution flag come back out. So the caution flag will be displayed here again as the 87. Chris Gantz here. Gantz going to run into some problems as he's rolling out there on the racetrack. I'm not sure what happens here, but looks like he gets a little loose right there. Rear end steps out around him, locks him up, gets into the inside fence, stop there on the racetrack as he comes to a stop there on the speedway. That's where we see the yellow flag fly. So tough break right there for Chris Gantz. Luckily enough, not too much damage there for him, and we'll get another opportunity to go back to battle here in this one. So Underwood, Lucas, Kreider, Jordan Hand, Dylan Carrier, and all these drivers will have to get ready for another big restart here this evening. As we get later and later into this race, we get closer and closer to that checkered flag, and unfortunately eliminating 3 more drivers from our playoffs here this evening. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see how this one all shapes up and plays out here this evening, as we'll get a quick word in from our sponsors over at Prestige Enterprises.
Hey guys, my name is Harley with Prestige Enterprises. Not only are we a proud sponsor of the Powerhouse Motorsports, we're also proud to be one of the sponsors for Premier Stock Car Racing League. We provide our services to over 70% of the U.S. and we have a wide range of services, but our main focuses are custom homes, barn doors and shops, and commercial development. But it doesn't stop there. So pull out your phones and use this QR code on your screen to take a quick look at our website. We can't wait to make your dreams come true. Now that we have helped pay some bills, let's throw it back to you, Aaron.
All right. Alrighty, we'll get ready to go back to battle here in this one. The laps continue to get clicked down here in this race. We inch closer and closer to about 40 laps left to go here in this one. And for 6 of these drivers, maybe a little bit of a relief after this race, as they know that they'll be locked into the next round of the playoffs and will still have their playoff dreams left alive here after tonight's racing action. But for 3 other drivers, unfortunately, their dreams will come to a crashing end here tonight, as they will be eliminated. They will no longer be a part of our Premium Stock Car Racing League playoffs here this evening. So you do not want to be one of those 3 drivers. You want to keep your dreams alive. You gotta have a good run, or if you need those points, if you know that you can't get it just by a solid finish, then you need to pick up this win. You win and you're in. You automatically move into the next round of our playoffs. So you're trying to get everything you can to try to put yourself into potentially that winning situation. One of those drivers being the 76 rider, Farrell Robbins. Robbins back in position number 11. He is one of those drivers that's really going to be looking for potentially moving forward and maybe picking up this race win. A little bit of a different strategy call out of that 76. Maybe it'll be enough, as here we go back to green flag racing as Underwood leads us down through the dog leg. Now a lot of drivers using that dog leg late in this race. Early on, we saw a lot of these drivers electing not to roll down low, not cut the racetrack there, but now late in this race, trying to get everything you can, every single inch out there on the racetrack. You're cutting that dog leg, and for a lot of these drivers trying to use it to their advantage, other drivers just trying to hang on, going through it is, look out, hang on, Josh Kreider. Kreider and Jordan Hand make a little bit of contact right there as Jordan moves around that 5 ride to take position number 3 away from Josh Kreider here this evening. Kreider slides back into position number 4 and looking for more, as here comes Ben Gleason in that number 66 and Applegate right there with him. Applegate, though, spinning those tires a little bit, getting a little bit squirrely there out of corner number 2, and you have to be very, very careful with that car, as that thing is very, very loose out there on the racetrack. You do not want to have an issue later on, as you may not be able to have time to recover from it, as the 2 rider Landon Burbage right there in 7th, Dylan Carrier back there in 8th, Jonathan Gaston there in 9th, and our final playoff competitor inside the top 10, it is that 76 rider, Farrell Robbins, there in that 10th position. Noah Blackwell, our final playoff driver out there on the racetrack, unfortunately currently not inside the top 10, and for that Interstate Batteries ride, still has a little bit of right front damage, scored back in the 11th position. Blackwell virtually in a must-win situation now as well, are hoping that a couple of those drivers like Underwood, Jordan Hand, Josh Kreider, Applegate all have problems and have a very bad finish here to finish off this race. But as of right now, they're rolling up to the front of the field, and for Blackwell, he knows that he pretty much has to win this race to be able to advance into the next round. And now late in this one, having some issues getting tied up in a couple of those caution flags and having that damage on the race car. He went a lap down. Luckily enough, that last yellow flag did give him the wave around, got him back onto the lead lap. So he is still in this hunt. He's up into 11th and trying to stay there on the lead lap now, and also hoping to try to jump up and fight for potentially his playoff life here this evening, as Ryan Haller right there behind him, radio our top 12. Then we see Jordan Kreider there in 13th. Wyatt Mickelson now up into 14th here, as Wyatt rolls there in the 10 car. He's up into position number 14. Could have been a whole lot worse, as he was one of the first drivers to get tore up out there on the racetrack. James Efaw never recovered from that contact between him and the 10 rider Wyatt Mickelson. James hasn't been back on the racetrack since lap number 12, and for Wyatt Mickelson, he's been out there just patiently rolling some laps, having a good run. He is still about 3-4 laps down behind our race leader, so definitely still not the position that he would hope to be in. As now we do see Dylan Carrier down pit road. Oh no, what is the call here for Dylan Carrier? Carrier was fairly safe on points, but I don't think he was this safe to make a late race pit stop and potentially go a lap down out here on the racetrack. Everyone else probably doesn't have to make another green flag stop here this evening. Oh no, this could be game over for Dylan Carrier. This could be the last thing that he does here. Oh, man, this is going to be tough. This is going to be very, very bad for Dylan Carrier, and hoping that he just has enough points, as you do see some front-end damage here on the 31 ride. I'm not sure if there was contact here between him and somebody, but definitely has that front-end damage. He was sliding backwards here. I'm not sure where he gets that damage from, but finally takes his car down pit side. Let's just keep it in reverse here. Back it up, Terry. Back it up. See where this damage comes from. Still has it on there, so let's keep it going. Maybe back to the restart here. Maybe some damage, maybe some contact. We'll have to wait and see. We don't get little issues like that. We don't see the little things that could be major things out there on the speedway, and it looks like something must have happened here to the 31 ride. Yeah, right here on the restart. Okay, take a look at this. Says bottom lane, trying to get a good jump, trying to hang with Brian Underwood here. Aiden Lucas, the 20 ride, is the race leader. The 5 ride of Josh Kreider is back in position number 3. Carriers restarting here in 5th, and as we go back to green flag racing, it seems like the inside lane doesn't really fire off as quickly as what Carrier's expecting, and unfortunately for this 31 ride, as he gets back onto the throttle right here, the 5 ride, he's rolling out of the throttle as he didn't want to get underneath and jackknife that 20 ride. Unfortunately for the 31 of Dylan Carrier, heavy front end damage there for him, and it's enough that he had to take this car down pit road and get work done to it. He's now scored back in 13th and is a lap down compared to the rest of these drivers out there. He's actually 2 laps down? No, 1 lap down still out there on the racetrack. It's Underwood still out in front, continue to lead the way, but his teammate Aiden Lucas right there looking to try to take that race lead away from him. Jordan Hand there in 3rd, Josh Kreider back in 4th, Ben Gleason, Landon Burbage are top 6 with Grant Applegate sliding back to 7th. As they make some contact there, heavy contact between Landon Burbage and Grant Applegate. Looked like Landon just trying to clear that number 57 ride, trying to keep him back there at bay. Unfortunately was not clear, and they just end up making contact there, but I'm not sure if Grant comes up into him or if the 2 ride comes down. Let's take a look here. So the 57 up on the high side. Looks like he gets a little loose maybe right there. The 2 cars still trying to come up a little bit. Unfortunately, they just run out of racing room. They get tied together. Bounce to the 2 ride pretty hard, pretty solidly up into the outside fence. And you see Applegate not once but a couple times getting into this wall as well. And pretty good contact there for both of those drivers. No caution flag either, as they are scored back now in the 7th and 8th position, as Jonathan Gaston was able to get around both of them. It's Brian Underwood, though. Underwood continuing to lead the way here in this one. He's going to be a bit of a happy boy right now, as he's been able to get some pretty solid stage points on the evening. He rolls in this race lead late in this race, knowing that this is an elimination race. You got to move on. You got to keep your playoff dreams alive. And as he leads the way, he's got a pair of his teammates back here behind him. Aiden Lucas, a part of the Redemption Motorsports crew, rolls right there in 2nd. Another Redemption ride back there in 3rd. It's Jordan Hand. Now Jordan could be right on that edge here of potentially advancing or being eliminated here in this stage of the playoffs. So for the 11 ride, he's got it right there in that question mark area as well. Same with Brian Underwood. So for Underwood and Jordan Kreider, how do you decide? How do you know that your teammates are right there and you could potentially put yourself into a position to lock yourself into the next round with a race win? It's going to be a tough one to call, as Josh Kreider, he's right there. Another one of our playoff drivers right in that bubble of potentially going home here this evening happy or going home here disappointed. In that 5 ride, rolling in position number 4, has been up inside the top 5 here all evening long. Looking to try to keep it that way, but does have that rear end damage as you take a look at the back bumper here of this 5 ride. You can see that contact off the restart between him and Dylan Carrier, as that's some pretty significant rear end damage, and it may be affecting this 5 ride, especially as this run goes on, potentially adding, some different air to the back end and affecting this car and the handling and just making it maybe more and more loose out there. We'll have to keep an eye on it and see how this is going to affect him here this evening as he rolls right now in position number 4. Ben Gleason with a heck of a run today. Gleason rolls right there in position number 5. This Oscar Myers hot dog, number 66 ride, rolling inside the top 5. Jonathan Gaston right there, as well as Gaston in that beautiful Gaston iRacing graphics, number 72, rolls there in that 6th position. Applegate back there behind him in 7th. Then we see Landon Burbage there in 8th. Noah Blackwell up into 9th as Ryan Haller, Farrell Robbins rounding out our top 11 here in our lead lap drivers this evening as Jordan Grinder rolls there in position number 12 and Dylan Carrier back in position number 13 on the racetrack. And yeah, for Dylan Carey, unfortunately, that damage a little too much and having to make that green flag pit stop there. Well, everyone else does not have to. He is now officially 2 laps down out there on the racetrack. One of our playoff drivers. He had some comfy times out there on the speedway. Obviously had some good laps, some good runs there. Had a couple solid stages. Did earn some stage points. Had a bit of a gap between himself and that cutoff line coming into this race, but he gave up some stage points to that cutoff line. I'm not too sure how close they got to him. And at the same point in time, now rolling back in 13th and seeing a lot of these cutoff drivers up at the front of the field. It could get very, very close on points here for that number 31 ride. A lot quicker than what he's expecting or hoping for, and maybe trying to hope to see maybe a couple late race caution flags, maybe get himself back into the action here this evening. But it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be very, very tough here. Very, very close on points. It's gonna be so tough, ladies and gentlemen, that we're not gonna be able to know until we see, Josh Kreider, one of the admins here of the series, jump into the chat or jump into the Discord and give us the updated points on where things kind of settled out there at the end of this race, as you just never know with the stage points being handed out and where drivers finish. Besides picking up a win, we can't quite tell whether or not who's gonna be locked in or who isn't gonna be locked in, because there's been so much movement throughout this race on that leaderboard and where drivers will stand when this race comes to a close. As Underwood out in front, down across the line, will click off another lap here this evening from Phoenix Raceway. Has 21 laps left to go here in this one. Only 21 more laps left to duke it out. And for all these dogs, man, they're looking to try to cash in, looking to try to pick up a big checkered flag or a good run to be able to work themselves into our penultimate round of our playoffs here this year. As we will have another round, we will have 6 drivers move into round number 3, where we will have 2 more races. 2 more races for these drivers to try to figure out where they need to be or how to work themselves into the next round of the playoffs. We will head to Kansas after this, and then our next elimination race will be at Dover. And I do believe we eliminate 2 drivers from that 3rd round. So 2 drivers will be eliminated in 2 weeks' time, which will leave us with 4 drivers, our championship 4, to duke it out at California. That is the Auto Club Speedway. To battle, to fight, to see who can try to put themselves up and into victory lane, or to potentially just pick up that championship here in a few more weeks. We only got 3 races left in this season after tonight's feature event, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, and this season quickly coming to a close. And for all these drivers, knowing that they want to be that Season 5 champion, they got to advance right here into the next round of the playoffs. As right now, Brian Underwood, he was last year's champion. He won that championship in Season 4. He's looking to go back-to-back, hoping to try to battle for another championship here this year and try to look to be that back-to-back champion here in Season 6. And for everyone else that's watching right now, if you guys are enjoying the racing action and you guys want to jump in on the fun, if you want to become part of the show, make sure you guys join their Discord, become part of the Premium Stock Car Racing family, and join in on the action. Season 6 is just around the corner. These guys will have a few recruitment races and everything else that you can be a part of and potentially get that invite and become part of this series and battle with these drivers out there on the racetrack every Saturday night. As Brian Underwood continues to lead the way down across the line, we'll click off another lap. 184 off the board as we get 16 laps left to go here in this race. So 16 laps of racing action left here, and things are going to wind up closing out here rather quickly as 30-second laps. It doesn't take long for these guys to maneuver and to roll around this racetrack. And for right now, Underwood, he's feeling pretty comfy. Still has a sizable gap here, a few car lengths between himself and his teammates, Aiden Lucas and Jordan Hand. As Hand rolls back there in position number 3, he's about a second behind our race leader, but Brian Underwood, he's got to feel very, very confident. Same with his teammates here for the Redemption Motorsports Group, as right now they have about a 4.5 second gap all the way back to our 4th place driver, Josh Kreider. As Kreider rolls there in position number 4 here, he's about 4.5 seconds back behind our race leader late in this race. And now starting to feel a little bit of pressure as here comes Ben Gleason, here comes Grant Applegate, potentially that damage on the rear end of that 5 ride starting to prove a little too much here for him as that 5 ride looks like he's really starting to struggle. Bang Gleason now really starting to feel that pressure from Applegate, so they may start to try to make their move around that 5 ride and try to steal position number 4 away from him. And if they do get around that 5 machine, that could be vital points, or even just 1 point that could be that difference maker between this 5 ride advancing into the next round of the playoffs, or unfortunately not being a part of the next round of the playoffs. So for the 5 machine of Kreider, he's got to try to do everything he can to try to get as many points as possible, but the same case scenario goes for Grant Applegate, Landon Burbage, Noah Blackwell, Farrell Robbins, and Dylan Carrier out there on the racetrack as Carrier rolls there in position number 12, still a couple laps down, and I'm not sure if it's going to be enough for him to be able to make his way into the next round of the playoffs or not, but we'll wait and see how this all works out and where everyone lines up here for those points after tonight's feature event. As things start to close up here a little bit from the field, we do see Jordan Kreider starting to close that gap here on the 20 ride of Aiden Lucas, looking to see if he can move forward a little bit more here late in this race, trying to earn himself that little bit of extra points to potentially work his way into that next round here as well. As in front, Brian Underwood looking to try to pick up a big win here this evening at Phoenix Raceway. Is 11 laps left to go. This time down through quarter number 1 and 2, you'll put the 87 ride of Ben Gleason, not Ben Gleason, that is Chris Getz. Another lap down for Getz, just moves up and out of the way there of our race leaders. And down out of quarter number 4, we will see that 6th ride get the big double high 5 here. 10 more laps left to go, ladies and gentlemen. 10 more laps of racing action here in our elimination race at Phoenix Raceway for the Premium Stock Car Racing League playoffs. This is race number, I do believe this is race number 6 in our playoffs already. Race number 5 of the playoffs here tonight. So our 5th race of the playoffs. We only got 3 races left to go, but for a lot of these drivers, our 9 that are left here in the playoffs, they know that this is an elimination race, and 3 more cats will be eliminated and no longer a part of our playoffs here after tonight's racing action. And right now, the 6th ride of Brian Underwood trying not to be one of those drivers on the outside looking in here as he continues to lead the way, looking to try to pick up this win. You win and you're in. You pick up the win, you automatically lock your way into the next round. In the 6th round, would love to do that. Would take away all the question marks and possibilities of maybe not advancing into that next round, and he'd lock himself in, maybe even leapfrogging a few of these drivers and putting himself up in front of them here in the point standings going into our next round. Is Underwood down through quarter 1 and 2 and takes us back down the back straightaway here with only 8 laps left to go here, 7 more this next time by the start-finish line. So things are coming to a close here quickly this evening, and for all those drivers that are right now on the bubble, it is very nerve-wracking time. So we did see Applegate make his way around Ben Gleason. Gleason slides all the way back now into 7th as Jonathan Gaston able to get around him as well, and now Grant Applegate, who won Stage 1, won Stage 2, came into this race, though, a couple points behind the cut line, and here he is, rolling right behind Josh Kreider. This could very well be the battle for the final transfer spot into the next round of the playoffs between this 5 right and the 57. That may be the one point that Applegate needs to advance into the next round here with that 5 right in front of him. For Josh Kreider, he may need this 4th position to stay 1 point to the good and advance into the next round, as that's all it takes. It could be that one car, that one lap better, that one couple second run that could potentially make or break your season here this late in the game. So for Applegate, he's looking to try to take advantage of it, looking to make the move around that 5 right. For Josh Kreider, he's doing everything he can to try to keep him back there at bay as Brian Underwood continues to lead this race. Underwood out in front, Aiden Lucas about 4/10 of a second back there behind him, with Jordan Hand, their 3rd teammate up here in the front of the field, rolling there in position number 3. Their 4th teammate is Grant Applegate, as Applegate rolls there in 5th, looking to try to make this a 1, 2, 3, 4 finish again for the Redemption Motorsports team here on the season. But for Josh Kreider, he's trying to keep that 57 right back there at bay and trying to also break up that 1, 2, 3, 4 finish for that team. It's Jonathan Gaston, a great run here for Gaston this evening as he rolls there in position number 6. Van Gleason back in 7th. Landon Burbage there in 8th. Noah Blackwell there in 9th. Ryan Haller now rounding out our top 10 as Farrell Robbins falls back to 11th. Dylan Carrier there in 12th with Wyatt Mickelson back in 13th. Jordan Kreider, Chris Getz, William Connolly, Evan Stewart, Danny White, and James Efa rounding out our 19-car field that took the green flag here this evening. As 200 laps were on the docket, finding a late race caution flag in NASCAR overtime here this evening. It is going to be one absolutely amazing race of 200 laps of duking it out here in our 4th last race of the season and our second elimination race here of the playoffs is Brian Underwood now down through quarter 1 and out of 2. He's hoping to see that white flag fly the next time around the racetrack. Is only a lap and a half left of this race. Even Lucas still about that 4/10 of a second back behind. Underwood is down through 3 and out of 4. No yellow flags. It's the white flag that will be displayed as Brian Underwood has one more lap left to go here this evening. Underwood knows that he's got to get it done. He wants to lock himself into the next round of the playoffs. He's just got to hold off his teammates back here behind him as he puts it on cruise control down the back straightaway here at Phoenix. As the Premium Stock Car Racing League Season 4 champion, Brian Underwood will move on to the next round here in Season 5 with this win here at Phoenix as the 6 machine puts himself up and into victory lane and locking his way into the next round of the playoffs, leaving any question marks about points off the table as he will lock his way in to the next round. So only Brian Underwood and Aiden Lucas, the 2 drivers that have wins here in round number 2 of these playoffs, know that they are locked into round number 3. 4 other drivers will advance. 3 other drivers here in our playoffs will be eliminated here tonight. And for each and every one of these competitors, other than Brian Underwood, who's celebrating this win, for Aiden Lucas, who won last week's race, everyone else is going to be very, very nervous here, just wondering where those points stack up and who works themselves into the next round of our playoffs is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Brian Underwood as Underwood picks up the checkered flag. He burns down the house here in Phoenix as he is pumped up, finally able to get that checkered flag here this season and able to celebrate here, knowing that all the hard work, the great drive here tonight, and everything that he was able to do will advance him into the next round of the playoffs and keeping his dream of being the back-to-back champion here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League will continue after tonight's performance. We'll get ready to pull our top three up and into the broadcast booth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for Brian Underwood. Hey, Brian, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Brian, man, what a run, what a drive for you here today, man, as you knew you had to get the points and potentially had to get that win to advance yourself into the next round of the playoffs. The points were very, very tight to start this race. Obviously, stage points going to Grant Applegate, who was back there below that cut line, trying to knock either you or Josh Kreider out of the playoffs here this evening, and, you know, it was coming right down to the wire. The calculations, I think, for everybody in all these different scenarios were running through your minds, but you knew you had one goal in mind, and that was to pick up this checkered flag and lock yourself into that next round of the playoffs and leave all those other question marks off the table here this evening, man. Take us what's going through your mind right now as you celebrate there on the front straightaway.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to get the first win finally. Like I said, just at the right time. Playoffs are here. We go into the next round swinging pretty hard this last 4 or 5 weeks with all podium finishes except for maybe one. So like I've kind of preached, it's all about consistency, and really throughout the race, through the stages, it was just my goal to finish top 5 in both. And with me hitting second and third, I was to be a lot more aggressive with the last stage and try to see if I can get out front, because clean air was kind of, I mean, it is day and night difference on the grip you had coming off the turn. So yeah, it's just great to get the win. It's the sugar on top. Just advance to the next round. See if we can get number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward already through those next 2 races, knowing that you want to pick up either another win or just continue on that consistency that you've shown all year long, and hoping to advance back into our Championship 4 battle here in a few weeks' time there in Auto Club Speedway, and looking to try to be that back-to-back champion here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League. What would it mean to you to be able to not only pick up the championship again, but to be crowned as that back-to-back champion here in the series?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great to win number 2. I mean, really, I do the Saturday nights. You know, a group of us been together for a long time. So, I mean, that's the foremost important part about this league. Winning is, like I said, it's sugar on the top. Definitely just, like I said, I just stay consistent. I want to have fun with it. I'm not gonna, a lot of people seem to stress out, and it's a totally different mindset for me. I'm just out here having fun, and you know, get number 2, I'd be the first, and hopefully maybe go for number 3, but we'll stick with just having fun, run consistent, and see where we can get at.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Brian, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening as you park that 6th ride up in Victory Lane here at Phoenix Raceway. Who would you like to thank, man, for such a great run and great performance out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, I mean, got a lot of people. You got everybody shows up every week. That was a fairly clean race with a good amount of drivers. Got to put it out to them. A few incidents, but I mean, short tracks. You putting on the show every week. Can't do it without you. You know, the admin team, the appeal team, and then, you know, my teammates. I finally got the monkey off my back, and we all have a win now. So that's nice. And, yeah, I mean, it's a collective effort. And like I said, this league's a lot of fun when we're hitting on all cylinders.
Absolutely, brother. Hitting on all cylinders here this evening. And finally, as you said, getting that monkey off your back. Finally getting this 6 right up and into victory lane and being able to taste that victory again. The same as your teammates have multiple times here this season as you park that 6 right up here in victory lane. Brian, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on advancing to the next round of the playoffs here this evening. And we can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack next Saturday.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for Brian Underwood as Underwood comes home with the race win here this evening and locks his way into the next round of our playoffs here this evening. As we'll get ready now to pull in our second place driver, the other guy out there that really didn't have to worry too much about points or position or anything else here this evening. It is Aiden Lucas. Aiden comes home in position number 2 here this evening. Let's pull him back up into the broadcast booth. Hey, Aiden, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you copy?
How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, Aiden. Solid run, solid ranks for you here this evening, man. Take us back through this one. Obviously, points-wise and having that win from last week, you didn't have to really worry too much about tonight. Knowing that you're able to lock yourself already into the next round, you're kind of taking things a little easy-breezy there out there on the racetrack, but trying to also help your teammates advance into this next round of the playoffs as well. Even though they're tough competitors, you still want to see them up there competing for this championship in a few weeks' time as well. But it's a tough spot, obviously, with Jordan, Brian, Grant, all right there battling kind of for those final few positions in this round of 6. So it makes things very, very tough on your end on who you need to help more or less or anything else out there on the racetrack. Take us back through it and what's kind of going through your mind here as you're able to, help Underwood pick up a dub and come home in second yourself.
I mean, we were trying to pass him. Me, Jordan, we were out there fighting, wheeling, trying to get past him. Yeah, you always want to try and collect another win. Just 'cause, it's fun. But it was hot and slick today. There was no grip anywhere. Every once in a while you catch a nice shadow, though, and then everyone would get real racy, but, man, hats off to Brian. He was quick.
Yeah, Brian definitely quick there in that final stage and being able to hold you and the rest of the field off with all the pressure that was on his shoulders there late in this race and being able to just be lights out there and finally be able to join, the Redemption Motorsports teammates here of, yourself and Hand and Applegate as race winners on this season as he's able to get that monkey off his back and finally pick up a checkered flag for himself. And honestly, so far up to this point, no bigger race on the season for all the drivers here this evening as he's able to lock in to that next round of the playoffs as well.
Yeah, I thought he had won before. I didn't know that he didn't get one yet. Well, that's good for him. Everyone needs one on the team. Yeah, hopefully we can make it a all redemption Final Four. That would be really nice. Yeah, these restarts, man, they're crazy with that dog leg. There's one of them. I was clear down to the apron in the 3 wide in 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely. The dog leg adding in a whole different aspect here at Phoenix Raceway. As last night we had a broadcast here. We ran the Legacy one where you don't have that dog leg out there, and it ran completely different than it does now with that dog leg on that front straightaway here at Phoenix Raceway as Aiden. We saw some craziness out there, a lot of, early caution flags, a few there middle of this race. You're able to keep yourself fairly clean out there and keep on battling, but you said, crazy restarts, a lot of 2 wide, 3 wide racing out there. Grip levels weren't very high with how hot it was here in Phoenix. How did you have to tackle those restarts? How did you have to try to keep yourself from sliding up and into each other and causing more and more carnage out there on the racetrack?
Well, it was always tough, because if you're in the bottom lane, you would go to the apron, people were going clear down to the pit wall. If you're on the outside, you're just a passenger, you're just waiting, you're like, oh, maybe I can get down here, or maybe, only 2 will come up instead of, being top 4 wide into 1. Luckily, the corner is pretty wide, and a lot of the apron's pretty usable, so, there's plenty of room before you get funneled down into the backstretch.
Absolutely. That second corner, things get tight real quick. We saw a few issues there throughout the evening, but you're able to keep yourself out of trouble here in this one, and you're able to park that 20 right back up and into a podium run this evening as you park it here in second. Aiden, who would you like to thank for another great run and great finish here this evening?
Thank Noah for the paint. Thank Brian and Josh and Ben for putting the show on, and thank you, Aaron, for bringing the show to the people.
Absolutely, brother. No better place to be on a Saturday night than up here in the broadcast booth and watching you guys duke it out there on the racetrack. Aiden, congrats on the great run, and we can't wait to see you back out there for the next round of our playoffs next Saturday and see if you can try to lock yourself into that championship 4.
Absolutely, buddy. Thank you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Aiden Lucas, as Aiden comes home in position number 2 here this evening. And we got word here from our official teams here. Jimmy 6 times up in the comment section says Lucas, Underwood, Burbage, Applegate, Jordan Hand, and Josh Kreider all work themselves into the final 6 here. They advance into the next round of our playoffs. Unfortunately, meaning that the 3 drivers eliminated here tonight from our playoffs are Farrell Robbins, Dylan Carrier, and Noah Blackwell. Unfortunately for Blackwell, Carrier, and Robbins, their efforts, their runs, and their drive here today just falling a little bit short, and unfortunately they will not advance into the next round of the playoffs here this year. Great news though for Aiden Lucas. Brian Underwood with the 2 wins here this round. They were able to easily slide into that next round of the playoffs, but for Landon Burbage, Applegate, Jordan Hand, and Josh Kreider, they gotta feel pretty good about where they are at and how they are able to roll themselves into that next round here in that final 6 competition. We'll pull one of our top 3 finishers here and one of our championship 6 drivers up here into the broadcast booth right now. It's Jordan Hand. Hey, Jordan. Hey, Jordan. It's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Not too much, Jordan, man. What a run, what a drive for you here tonight. Obviously, a lot of points and a lot of back and forth out there on the racetrack that's kind of going through your guys' mind. And late in this race here, battling and rolling there at the front of the field, pulling away from Josh Kreider and so many of these other drivers that are trying to knock you potentially out of these playoffs. But luckily enough, I don't know if you've gotten the word yet or not, but your top 3 efforts here this evening and those stage points all come to work, and you're able to stay as one of our final 6 drivers in the championships as you will move on to the next round here with that 3rd place run.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I mean, it was a good team run. We were all 4, I think, had really good speed. I think we were all at one point the fastest cars on the track at different points in the race. So it was good to have good speed, and I'm glad we all made it in. That's awesome. What a season, right? I feel like this team has just been dominant from the drop.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of very good finishes. The teamwork and the efforts that you guys have been putting in has been paying off week after week after week. And obviously now with all 4 Redemption Motorsports drivers up and in to that Championship 6, now you have only 2 more races left to go and hoping to try to lock all 4 of you in for that championship finale here in a few weeks' time, man. But take us back through this race. Obviously a very hot one here in Phoenix. Cars very, very loose, losing those rear ends, slipping and sliding out there on the racetrack, and a lot of restarts and a lot of close calls out there, a lot of side-by-side action. How did you have to handle yourself out there, and how did you find your way up here into 3rd late in this race to be able to come home with that top 3 podium run?
Patience, man. I mean, it was kind of frustrating too, because at one point I got a black flag and it put me back there, and I got caught up in that one wreck, like the big one at Phoenix. So that hurt, but I was able to get the fast spare, get back out there, and thankfully I had enough time to get through the field. And man, it was just hard, to be honest with you, because if you weren't the lead, like top 2, 3 guys where you could pull away and you're just stuck in dirty air in the hornet's nest, man, it was damn near impossible to save tire, just not sliding. And there on that final restart, or whatever it was, I was able to get past Josh, and at that point I was able to actually save a little tire finally. I feel like I wasn't able to all damn night, so it felt good to finally do it. And once we got past him, we kind of checked out for a minute. And Aiden was sliding around quite a bit all night on the longer run. So I felt like we could have got around him. And same with Brian. I mean, Brian was hitting the wall quite a bit himself too. So there at the end, I felt like I was the fastest car. You get right up to someone's rear, and we were all pretty much running kind of the same line, not exact, but there was just no way of getting around. I think if we could have got around Aiden, I think I could have gave Brian a good run for his money, because he seemed to be struggling quite a bit there. But at the end of the day, man, we'll take a 1, 2, 3, and I think it would have been a 1, 2, 3, 4 if Grant didn't have some trouble there, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a tough one there for Applegate after pretty much dominating the first half of this race, obviously winning both of those stages, earning a bunch of bonus points that he desperately needed to try to advance into this next round, and then obviously running into some problems there, obviously some different pitch strategy put him a little farther back in the field, and then having that contact getting collected there in that big wreck on the back straightaway here down to corner number 3, getting some pretty solid damage there, and then obviously trying to rebound from that, trying to race his way back up inside the top 5, was able to finally get there, and then just couldn't find his way around Josh Kreider, but it was all enough for him to lock himself into the next round of the playoffs as well.
Yeah, man, that was a hell of a drive by him. I mean, Grant's one of the best drivers we got, if not the best, but I mean, it's definitely, I don't know, he's got incredible talent, man. He's a damn good driver, but I can say the same thing about, my entire team, so.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be a tough one right down to the end of this season, as we only got 3 races left to go. One more elimination race here in a couple weeks, Jordan. It's going to be fun to watch you guys duke it out, not only as, the other 2 competitors that are still in these playoffs, but also as you guys, teammates, duking it out amongst each other here, trying to win this championship here this year. But Jordan, you come home in 3rd. You do advance into that next round with all 3 of your other teammates and able to race another day here for that championship, man. Take us, what's kind of going through your mind, and who would you like to thank for such a great run tonight?
Yeah, just want to shout out my family for watching, friends, and shout out you for the great broadcast, and Josh and Brian for running the league, and all the guys coming out. And once we finally got spread out, it was great racing. I think kind of figured with it, heavy braking track like this that some people were gonna get ran over, and I'm sure you got a good look at me getting run over by Noah there pretty early on. But I was able to save that one. But anyway, man, yeah, I look forward to it. I think it'll be one heck of a drive by everybody. I definitely think the top was at 6 people. I think all top 6 were the most consistent all year. I know Dylan almost got in, and he's been pretty damn good himself. So I hate that for him, because he's a hell of a driver himself. But it'll be interesting, man. There's some pretty fun tracks, and I think Auto Club will be just kind of anybody's game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely going to be a crazy one to finish out this season, and we can't wait to see that happen. But we got to get through the next 2 races first. As Jordan, congrats on that 3rd place run, and we look forward to seeing you back out there for our 3rd to last race of the season next Saturday.
Yes, sir. Hey, one more thing. Go the Thunder.
Beauty. Jordan, enjoy the rest of your night.
You too, buddy.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our 3rd place finisher, Jordan Hand. As Jordan comes home in position number 3 here this evening. Heck of a run, heck of a drive all night long for all these drivers, all these competitors, putting on one heck of a show for us here this evening. And for Underwood being able to pick up that checkered flag, finally being able to get that win on the season that he's been desperately looking for, and no better time to get one than now in locking his way into that next round of the playoffs. Braden Lucas, Jordan Hand, Josh Kreider, Grant Applegate, and Landon Burbage all able to advance into the next round of the playoffs. Definitely a good night for all 6 of those drivers. Unfortunately, though, for Noah Blackwell, Farrell Robbins, and Dylan Carrier, their playoff dreams come to an end here this evening, and that's a heartbreaker for all 3 of those drivers. But hopefully we'll see them back in action next Saturday. Maybe still just looking to try to finish off the season strong, try to learn as much as they can, and potentially pick up a win or so themselves here in the closing 3 races of the season here in Season 5 of the Premium Stock Car Racing League. But listen, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Everyone coming in, showing the love, the likes, the comments, the shares. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and can't wait to see you guys back up here in the broadcast booth. We'll be live for 2 races tomorrow night. We got 2 races out there on the racetrack, as we'll get the Outcast Racing League back into battle, and then later on we'll have that wheel-to-wheel racing league where we'll see a lot of the same drivers that are out here right now tonight battling in this race. They will be back in action tomorrow night for the wheel-to-wheel racing league as well. So make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button. Turn those bell notifications on. That way you never miss it when we go live here on Peacemaker Gaming. That way you never miss the green flag action here on the channel, and get to watch all your favorite drivers, some new drivers out there every single night of the week, battling, having some fun, and enjoying their time here on iRacing. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch you back here in the next one. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love, chat. Woo! What a run, what a race.